So I basically think this is the first time, this is the first period in her, not just captaincy, but in her time in the team, where she's actually in a position where she can kind of rely
Mm.
on more than just herself, maybe.
Mm.
And actually, it's like going from having no toys to all the toys, right? And she's woken up on Christmas Day morning. I kind of wonder how this is making, that performance we've seen in this series, how it makes her think about when she may or may not retire. I was looking at the data last night when I couldn't sleep, and in the year from April 2023 to April 2024, I think she's averaged 81 runs in ODI cricket per game, and in the last 12 months, I think she's averaging around 12 or something, maybe a little bit higher. So her form has totally fallen away. I don't think we're in a should we take the captaincy away from her?
Yeah.
What do we need to do? That kind of do they need to think about moving on? I don't think we're in that place because you can see she's still got everything she's always had. I just think we're in a position now with the rest of the team. She doesn't. It's not, as we said earlier. It's not Chamari or bust. But I also think if you're so used to it being Chamari or bust, and you're the captain, whether it's her or if it was someone else, I think what they've got now is so quickly kind of all come together that it must be really tough for them to, in a way, to kind of figure it all out and put it and jigsaw it up. I don't know what you think, Estelle. I could see.
Yeah, I think that's a big adjustment as well for her, right? And I think it's an adjustment for the other players as well, because it's like I remember like talking about this about Vishmi as well. When Vishmi bats with Chamari, how like timid she looks, right? She looks like she's just there to survive. That's all she's gonna do. Chamari is going to make all the runs and she's gonna stick around there. But when you actually give players the opportunity and tell them, look, no, you have a role to play here. We've seen how they've come out and played, right? And I think for the players, it's an adjustment. For Chamari, it's also, it could be freeing, but it also could be a different kind of, I don't know if you can call it a pressure, but it's different, right? Because like I remember talking to her last year or 2023 where she was talking about how she loves the pressure. She loves being that, the player that everybody relies on. And, she knows that if she needs to make runs for Sri Lanka to do well, that kind of motivates her and spurs her on. So then when you go from that to, okay, look, no, it's great if you make runs, but even if you don't, we can kind of still be successful. I wonder what that does to your kind of motivation and how you pick yourself up and motivate yourself to go out there and perform.
I wonder whether it's the disciplines too. So I think having played in the women's Big Bash and the WPL, she's played with players who are going to score runs alongside her. So I thought she looked comfortable. Like obviously she wasn't in her best form, but she looked comfortable kind of batting around. But I think it's the like in this Sri Lankan team, especially like the bowling, she bowled herself the full quota of 10 overs and kind of got smashed around a little bit in those last two games. I think because of precisely what Estelle said, she feels this pressure like, I want to, I got to do everything for my team. But now, since you have a Dumi, since you have Inoka Ranawira, maybe you don't need to be bowling those 10 overs. And I think there were some times where sort of matchups, like where she's bowling, against the South African partnership, which was both right-hand batters, right? And I think that's a place where the adjustment has to happen with this team in particular, because she's so used to doing everything, including the bowling. And I think taking that, like thinking, oh, well, maybe I'm not the best option to break a partnership or to keep the runs low in this case is can be tricky.
Yeah. And also the fact that like now, for example, the game that you brought up, Dom, the South Africa game, like it wasn't 2-3 overs, right? It was long spells of overs where they weren't changing anything, when nothing was going their way, which is why, like, I think even on commentary there was a bit of criticism, is that proactiveness was not there. And it's funny, it's like when you watch a different captain, like if you watch Laura Wolvaardt, there is a massive difference in the way she runs things, right? And she's a much junior cricketer, um, but the way she handles that, it's not about just mindlessly changing things up as well, but there has to be some kind of decision making that okay, if this isn't working in this number of overs, we have to change things up, because you basically open the door for South Africa to completely turn the game the other way, right? By giving away those runs in the middle overs. So like it's I wonder if there's anyone who can who has the courage to say that to her also, because she's been such a big part of Sri Lanka's success, right? And I always think, you hear about like divas, players like who are divas and who want things the way they want and get things done the way they want and all of that. But when you are like, I'm not saying that she is a diva, I'm saying like when you are as good as she is and when you have achieved as much as she has, there's almost this thought that you are entitled to be a bit of a diva, right?